A 2009 headline read, "Prostitution Raids Rescue 52 Youth," where they refer to the kids as young as 10 years old as child prostitutes. 2009 was also the year that the FBI listed Los Angeles as one of the top 13 child sex trafficking areas in the nation and one of the top 3 in California. And this paved the way for Kim Biddle to begin the work in the sector. So in 2010, in response to the overwhelming need and general misunderstanding of the crimes that were being committed against children, Kim recognized, if not me, then who? And if not now, then when? She had passion, a master's of social work, a background in teaching and education, and that led to the creation of Saving Innocence. Kim was alone that year. She was the only staff member. And the next 2 years were building and growing, long meetings and sacrificing. Kim recalls collecting free food boxes as she built relationships and resources. In 2011, we had doubled our number of staff. In January 2012, Saving Innocence was the only nonprofit contracted by the Los Angeles Superior Court to be a part of the launch of the first juvenile court in the United States for child victims of sex trafficking, termed the STAR Court, which stands for Succeeding Through Achievement and Resilience. The STAR Court, with Commissioner Pratt at the time, allowed the advocate in the court to support the youth so that they had a familiar face. That year, we held our first empowerment conference. We served 24 kids and we had 3 staff. By 2013, we had grown to 6 staff. We served 48 kids and we started traveling out of state to spend time with kids in care facilities. In 2014, we had grown to 8 staff. We started the Los Angeles County First Responder Protocol. The protocol was implemented in a pilot area. We would respond to calls within 90 minutes alongside social workers and probation officers. But kids were still seen as criminals who were being exploited. There were victims being transported, being held for their safety in the same bus as their trafficker, even though they were headed to court to testify against them, and they endured insults the entire drive. We served 80 kids that year. By 2015, we had grown to 9 staff. We were continuing with the First Responder Protocol with 5 advocates on a rotating basis for the crisis response and long-term advocacy. We served 117 kids that year, and we supported 1 youth through a federal case alongside the FBI in Fresno. In 2015, the Los Angeles Regional Human Trafficking Task Force was launched, and we took 10 youth to Disneyland with board members and staff. In late 2015, the implementation of the First Responder Protocol was expanded to the Los Angeles Police Department's 77th and Southeast Divisions. By 2016, we had grown to 11 staff. We began word on the street groups in Juvenile Hall, which were facilitated by advocates and survivor advocates. Dream Court began hearing cases, which was the child welfare version of the STAR Court, presided over by Judge Sullivan. We supported the district attorney and clients in 2 massive trials, one that resulted in the trafficker being sentenced to 281 years. The First Responder Protocol was rolled out to all of Los Angeles Sheriff's Department stations. Operation Reclaim and Rebuild that year resulted in 198 people being arrested in a county-wide sex trafficking operation. In July of that year, we faced the extraordinary circumstance of a client being murdered. That was also the year that SB 1322 passed, which meant that children were no longer arrested for prostitution. We served 173 kids that year. By 2017, we had grown to 13 staff members. We started working with the Texas Governor's Office to support their efforts to use the Saving Innocence model throughout the state of Texas, which meant advocates teaming with law enforcement and child welfare. We started traveling back and forth to train advocacy agencies on our model. That year, we served 324 kids. We had 16 high school graduates, and we supported 24 youth testifying against their traffickers. By 2018, we had grown to 17 staff members. The First Responder Protocol was rolled out to all of Los Angeles Police Department divisions. We trained Dallas CASA supervisors, an advocacy agency in Arkansas, and consulted with organizations in Hawaii and Maryland. We started training local care facilities and their staff on better practices with commercially sexually exploited children. We supported 42 youth testifying against their traffickers, and it was our first year of the Survivor Leadership Academy for Youth. We had 35 high school graduates, and we served 509 kids that year. By 2019, we had grown to 22 staff. We started a new contract with the Department of Children and Family Services, and our intervention curriculum was piloted in the juvenile hall facilities. We continued to train care facility staff locally and advocacy agencies in Texas. We had 25 high school graduates and served a total of 558 kids that year. With all of this activity, we even managed to squeeze in another trip to Disneyland. In 2020, we've grown to 28 staff. We launched our online advocacy course and our foster family agency. We supported 29 youth testifying against their traffickers, and so far in 2020, we've served 423 youth. To date, we have had the honor and privilege to step into moments of crisis with 656 youth in their most vulnerable moments, usually in the middle of the night, through the first responder protocol. We have served over 1,000 kids through case management and advocacy. We have educated 682 kids in juvenile halls and care facilities through the prevention curriculum. And we are fast approaching 2,000 youth that we have served and supported. With all of this lived experience, we are often called upon to train and consult around the country in one way or another. Our national impact can be found in Texas, Hawaii, Arkansas, Maryland, Florida, Colorado, Oregon, Washington, D.C., New York, and Arizona, all out of our home base here in California. With 10 years behind us and so many accomplishments, we feel like we are just getting started. There is so much more to do, and we can't wait for the next 10 years.